it's a weird juxtaposition of emotions that you go through with some diagnosis like this. It's like you're so glad that there is an explanation for your whole life and all of your shortcomings, I guess. But you also feel a lot of shame and just overwhelm and confusion, and it's just a long road ahead. But it was more than anything a huge relief. I was growing up, like most ADHD individuals, I was disorganized and overwhelmed easily, emotional, easily stressed out. And I was a little bit impulsive. In school, you forget all of your homework. You forget what the teacher even said. You forget to bring the books home. You can't wake up in the morning. You can't get to class on time. You speak out without raising your hand. And just socially, this can cause a lot of issues. And for girls, it's often undiagnosed because we are just more introverted with the experience. And without hyperactivity, I should mention I don't have the hyperactive element. ADHD is just a general classification that includes the non-hyperactive type. And when I'm talking about it today, I'll be talking about both. I have inattentive ADD, so a lot of times that can disguise itself as depression, or it can be comorbid with depression, and that's really what I struggled with throughout college. I was dealing with depression, and no one really connected the dots until my late 20s that it was related to my struggle with an ADHD brain. So,
as far as your eating window, what kind of eating window do you have, and what does a daily day look like for you as far as your eating, and what kind of diets that you have that really benefit your ADHD?
Yeah, well, I have probably the most flexible approach to intermittent fasting than anyone I know, and that's what I teach as well. I think that we really need that. Some of us are not really comfortable with too much rigidity or routine, and especially the ADHD individual is not going to feel attracted to something that is the same every single day. We need novelty, we need flexibility, and we need to be able to act on our impulses. And so my intermittent fasting routine is not a routine. It's just that I put off my first meal of the day until usually between 12 and maybe 3 p.m. Sometimes I go longer and I do 24-hour fasts, but I really vary all the ways that I treat my fasting and how I teach my clients. Like sometimes I have bulletproof coffee, sometimes I don't. And I think if fat loss is not your main focus, then bulletproof coffee is an awesome way to extend your fast, enjoy your fast, and make this into something that you can do for a lifetime, which is hugely important because more than anything, I'd love for this fasting to be something that we hold on to, this wisdom that we really honor for the rest of our lives and we can pass on for generation to generation. To treat it like a fad or like any other diet is really going to be robbing us and our future generations of all of the magic that is fasting. And really, that's what our bodies expect from us. And the things that I teach to introduce people to fasting start with a 21-day carbohydrate reduction. And it's not low carb, it's not keto. It's just to get off of the processed foods and flour-based foods and things that are really requiring so much insulin production in the body. Because if that's how you're eating on a regular basis, your body doesn't know how to use your own body fat for energy. And that is really a key to longevity and optimal brain performance, is when you are able to tap in and out of different types of energy, like glucose or fat or ketones in another word. And so I like to just take a really laid back approach to my time restricted eating or intermittent fasting. My window is almost always 16 to 18 hours naturally. That's what feels good to me. But in the beginning, most people need to start with 12 hours. It's way too unreasonable to assume that you can just start an intermittent fasting or time restricted eating routine that's a 16-hour fast. So start slow with 12 hours. That's actually a good way to gauge how your metabolism is at this time, because if you can't go 12 hours, you really got to do the work, clean up your diet, reduce your sugar and carb intake, because soon after doing that consecutively for usually around 21 days for most people, you'll find that stretching that window and adding a couple hours is so much easier. And if you eat a nutrient-dense diet outside of the fasting window, you're going to be able to extend that fast more and more and more, and you're really going to be able to see what you're capable of.